Welcome back to Talk of the Town. I am joined now by the Greenery's Tim Drake, and we are here to talk about what's going on with your plants and shrubs since this freeze happened. You are kind of the man of the hour at the moment, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Lots of calls. What do I do with all this? So what do we do? What does happen when the things freeze? And because you look around and things look like they're never coming back to life. But is that true, or what?
Well, I mean, and of course it depends on the plant materials, but the general advice is, if you can, just leave things alone.
Okay.
And the reason being is because this time of year, you know, we're not out of the woods yet.
I know.
You know, we still have about 6 weeks of winter left to go. Our last frost date is the 15th of March, so you never know. And I always tell people, you got to be careful, because it may warm up a little bit at the beginning of March, but you know, there's always that week
that
or
chance,
you know, of it getting very cold. So. The general advice is to leave things alone if you can.
Okay.
One reason being is, you know, when you prune, you promote new growth, and the new growth, if it does come on, if we do have some warm weather, it may get damaged with, you know, more cold temperatures.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm telling people, if you just can't stand it, and that was the you know, the case in my own home. I just couldn't look at dead stalks and dead foliage forever. You know, cut things back. You know, and of course, ask advice about each plant material, because it's a little different depending on the plants. You know, and then mulch. You know, pine straw or mulch. What you're trying to do is you're trying to protect that crown, or what, you know, and again, depends on the plant, so that it doesn't you know, get damaged by, you know, further cold weather.
Further cold weather.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we can stand looking at our ugly stuff that's hanging over and brown and dry, we should leave it there.
That's correct.
I mean, my initial reaction is like, oh, cut all of that down. But that's you're right,
well,
though. That does promote the growth. Okay.
Again, you know, in my own yard, I can't look at that.
You didn't take your own
advice. Yeah, I
advice.
did not take you know, the professional advice, which is just walk away. And if you go and talk to anybody at our retail store, you know, we've had, you know, 1,000 calls.
I'm
it
sure.
started, you know, almost during that whole week we had, you know, really bad weather.
Yeah.
You know, it is just walk away. Just try to, you know, just sit tight, and you know, when the weather starts to turn, that would be the time to, you know, eliminate the bad-looking foliage, and you know, that being said, you know, I cut back maybe 2 weeks ago or so. And I did see, I have had some regrowth on some things. So, you know, if we do have cold weather, it's going to damage that tender, you know, foliage that's actually regrown. So.
Okay, but are there any plants that probably, you know, there's just no hope and they should go?
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure there's lots of them, but what would that be that people might have in their yards, or?
Well, annuals. You know, if you had, I mean, we've had a couple of really mild winters, and things like, you know, some of our seasonal color like pentas or impatiens, or things that just kind of chug through a very mild winter, they're probably toast now. So, I mean, you can actually just pull those up, you know, and cut those back or whatever.
Okay, and what about like the palm trees and you know, things that are larger than the plant, you know, big shrubs or trees? What is the deal with those? Are they going to make it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, we've had colder temperatures before. I mean, in the last, you know, 20 or 30 years.
Sure.
You know, this time was an extended period of cold. It was, you know, the ice, the freezing rain. The freezing rain is what got a lot of things in my yard, because I actually have plant materials that are somewhat cold tolerant. I mean, it didn't get down to 10.
Right.
It only got down to, you know, whatever, 25 or 28 or whatever. But it was the freezing rain, snapped a lot of branches.
Yes.
We have seen a lot of damage to things like sago palms.
Okay.
That is cold, and that is, you know, the freezing rain. You know, in that instance, you probably just want to leave it alone. Those won't flush out until it really warms up.
Okay.
Once we get past, you know, I say March 15th because of the frost date, you can cut off the bad-looking foliage, you know, and just wait for it to flush back out. But
and what about lawns and irrigation systems?
Generally speaking, irrigation systems should be off right now.
Yeah.
I did, you know, Carol from our retail store did remind me to remind you all that you do, you know, when plants are under stress, even in the wintertime, you don't want them to dry out. So what I do, you know, in my own house is, if we go 10 or 12 days without any kind of precipitation. Things are looking a little dusty and dry. I wait until a day where it's maybe, 55, 60 degrees, and I let the irrigation run through one cycle,
thing.
So that you're getting a little moisture into the yard. But
I
generally
don't
speaking,
want to cut you off, but we're out of time.
That's
so,
okay.
But generally speaking, keep that irrigation system off until
about March 1st.
Okay,
Yeah.
March 1st.
Yep.
Make sure you call the Greenery and talk to Tim if you have any questions about what's going on in your yard, and we'll be right back on Talk of the Town.